I do think we still talk about Amelia Earhart today because she was a product of good marketing. She was the face of female aviation because she had a good face. So the first person to fly across the Atlantic Ocean was Charles Lindbergh. And after he did it, he was everywhere. He was selling all these books. He had all these speaking engagements. He was doing all these tours. And his publicist, Charles Putnam, was also making bank. So that publicist thought, I could double my money if I find a woman to do that exact same flight. Because we gotta appeal to those female consumers, baby. So he went on a America's Next Top Pilot search. And he found Amelia Earhart. And she was perfect. She was young, she was cute, she had a tight boy haircut and a tough leather jacket. And everyone was like, is this a manic pixie dream girl in the sky? I love her. And she was a pilot. She did know how to fly, but she had never done a trip as arduous or as long as a transatlantic flight. So for safety purposes, and also the patriarchy, she didn't fly that plane. 2 men flew the plane, and she was the first woman to be flown across the Atlantic Ocean. That's what made her famous. They thought she could use a couple chaperones to help her out so she didn't learn any lessons. They made that journey, came back to America. Everyone here was celebrating. They were so excited. They were like, you did it, Amelia. You're a hero. How do you feel? And she said, oh, I didn't fly that plane. I was like baggage, like a sack of potatoes. That's literally what she said, which is so sad, but also great marketing. Because then they started selling Amelia Earhart baggage, just in case you want to lose your luggage. This is true. So Charles Lindbergh's publicist became Amelia's publicist, and they went on a tear. She had her own luggage line. She was the spokesperson for a cigarette company. She was the first celebrity to design and sell her own clothes through her own clothing line. She was kind of like the original Kim Kardashian, where you're like, I can't remember how she got so famous, but I will take whatever she's selling. And I'm not even saying that as a diss. I think it's great that Kim Kardashian has been so famous for so long for someone who doesn't have any obvious skills. But she is very skilled. She's great at marketing herself and her entire family. And she's literally about to become a lawyer whose main focus is to release wrongly accused people from prison. She went from getting fucked on tape to helping people who got fucked in court. And that's the American dream. Do you want to know who was the first woman to fly around the world? Yeah. Her name's Jerry Mock. That's it. Just some lady named Jerry Mock I never heard of until I was doing research for this bit. And I hate saying this because it doesn't feel good, but I feel like maybe we don't talk about Jerry because she wasn't marketable. She didn't have that it factor. Nothing was wrong with her. She was just a married woman in her 40s who loved to fly and was good at it. And the people who curate our history were like, I mean, we could talk about her. She did do the thing. But what about this pretty missing girl over here? That's my women's history. We don't like it when the women are around to tell their own story. And Jerry was actually very around to tell her own story. Jerry Mock was alive until 2014. Yeah. Very alive and very available to tell her own story if she wanted to. But part of me thinks maybe she didn't want to. It seemed like she didn't really like the limelight. After her global flight, she kept a very quiet life to herself at home. And she actually went on record saying, the kind of person who enjoys being alone in a plane is not the kind of person who wants to continuously be around other people. A woman after my own heart. This woman flew all around the world and was like, I'd rather be home. All my stuff is there. And she did try to market herself when she was doing her global flight. She gave herself the nickname the Flying Housewife because other than flying the world, she just took care of her kids at home. So really, out of everyone, Jerry Mock is the most appropriate historical figure to advertise cleaning products. Get your window so clean, you can almost see the first woman who ever flew around the world. And even though Amelia Earhart wasn't the first woman to fly around the world, she was very progressive. A lot of people think she may have been queer. Yeah. There's no hard evidence of this. It's also possible in the 1930s, people saw a woman with a career in pants and they were like, gay. We're not sure. I would like to believe that. Give me a queer icon to look up to. And like literally look up to. Whenever I see a rainbow in the sky, I'm like, there she goes in her biplane. And if she was queer, that would explain how she operated in her marriage. So she actually got married to that publicist who found her. And it may have been for love. It didn't really seem like it though. He asked her to get married 6 times before she finally broke down and said yes. It was a real, like, Steve Urkel, Laura Winslow situation. And before they got married, she drew up a lengthy prenup. She said, I'm keeping my own house. I'm keeping my last name. Don't get in the way of my career. Don't expect me to be monogamous. And if we're together for a full year and we find ourselves unhappy, we have to part. They got married in 1931. Guess what year she took her solo transatlantic flight? 1932. The very next year. She probably checked in and was like, how are we feeling, huh? Do you still like this? And he's like, I love being married to you. And she's like, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. Great. I did say we have to both be unhappy, and you are very, very, very happy. Okay, so I think it's time for me to take that solo flight. Yeah, across the Atlantic. I know I already flew over the Atlantic once, but like there were 2 men in the cockpit, and I just don't want any cock in my pit. I just do this solo. And so she took the flight, and that's what earned her the title of being the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. And then she was the first person, man or woman, to fly from Hawaii to California. And then she started planning her global flight. Her trips kept getting longer and farther from this man. Which makes me think, maybe she didn't get lost. Maybe she just left. She was like, get me out of this life, get me out of this marriage. I'm tired of all these social constructs put upon me that have nothing to do with me. She realized a long time ago, she didn't need a man to make her happy. And in so many ways, she just wanted to fly solo. So really, we shouldn't be recognizing Amelia Earhart as the first woman to attempt to fly around the world. We should recognize Amelia Earhart as the most notable witch to sweep herself off her own feet.